Hi, this weekend I went to the pictures and I saw Steven Soderbergh's Black Bag, the second of his films released so far this year. I'm sure he's got time to squeeze in a third. It's a contemporary spy thriller set in the UK and follows George, an MI6 operative, who's assigned with finding a mole operating within the organisation. There's a list of 6 potential suspects. Uh, well, not quite 6 perhaps, but the main group of 6, including himself, several acquaintances, and also his own wife. It's established in an interesting way that MI6 operatives are encouraged not to seek relationships outside the organisation itself, so many actually have romantic partnerships with co-workers. George himself is married to another agent, Catherine, and she's one of the agents under suspicion. George then gets involved in a labyrinthine plot to find the agent and unravel various relationships between the colleagues under the supervision of the director's eyes, played by Brosnan, no less. It's very much a Steven Soderbergh film. It looks and sounds like a Steven Soderbergh film with that rich, dark ochre lighting, the standard ambient jazz score from David Holmes, and some very smart, stylish wardrobe. Um, there are fine performances across the board. We have Michael Fassbender and Cate Blanchett in the 2 lead roles. Regé-Jean Page and Naomie Harris in supporting roles, along with Brosnan himself. And it's a really solidly made film. It's a tight 90 minutes. It feels very much like a contemporary John le Carre. It's not a great film, I don't think, by any means, and I don't think it's in any way in the top echelon of Soderbergh's work, but it's an interesting attempt at pushing his aesthetic and his style into a different direction. That said, although he hasn't made a spy thriller before in contemporary settings, it doesn't feel stylistically like anything particularly new for him. That he is constantly reinventing his style and his métier and doing different things. I mean, already this year we've seen Presence, which is a supernatural drama filmed entirely from the perspective of a ghost. This is much more conventional. It's, I think, his most conventional film in many years, and I think it's something targeted at being a mainstream commercial success rather than one of his more experimental pictures. I don't think it's necessarily geared towards that, though, because cinema has evolved in terms of what audiences expect, and this is a relatively small-scale production. It has really only 6 or 7 main characters. Much of it is people talking urgently in rooms, and although as a le Carre style spy story in a contemporary setting, it is quite compelling and engaging and does unravel in an interesting way. I'm not sure it's going to catch the attention of the audience for which it might be aimed. They're probably going to be happier sitting at home and watching this rather than going out to the cinema. For all of that, it's a pretty good film. It's a decent spy story. And although it's not on the top level of Soderbergh's work as being thrillingly engaging or excitingly experimental, it's absolutely solid. And for a lot of directors, that's a ringing endorsement.